But I don't know when I'll have that money.
Yeah,
Is what I'm
because
getting at.
nobody knows the future.
Maybe it's an age thing, and at 19 years old, you can't understand the gravity of my money problems.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe age is a factor here, Luke. I mean, Madeleine is a teenager after all. But, and here's a shock for you, maybe another factor is because you've been acting like a sugar daddy since the day that you met her. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thought that paying for everything, giving her a lavish lifestyle, might have set the wrong expectations, might have attracted the wrong kind of woman? A woman he doesn't fully trust.
I know that I will never leave you, but I don't know that you'll never leave me. And like what I'm getting at is the prenup. Have you ever heard of it?
Buckle up, because something tells me Madeleine isn't going to be happy with a prenup. Yeah, things are about to get very rocky for these two lovebirds. Now, before we dive into the drama, let's just rewind a bit. So, Sugar Daddy Luke is in Colombia to be with his 19-year-old fiancée Madeleine. For the last year and a half, he's paid for everything for her. All her bills, her fancy apartment, her new business, everything has been funded by Luke. But there's now a problem. Luke's just lost his job. Not just that, but he's also invested all his money into businesses that, as of yet, still aren't profitable. He's now officially broke. And having finally plucked up the courage to tell Madeleine this, to be honest with her and also tell her that he's not going to be able to move to Colombia yet, we join them in this episode with Madeleine still in a mood.
When Madeleine's upset with me, she kind of shuts down. She's been sulking ever since I told her that this trip is not my permanent move to Colombia.
This trip is really testing their relationship. Luke's clearly unsure whether his fiancée will be with him if he can't afford to meet her financial expectations. So with Madeleine still furious at him, he's catching up with his friend Brian, whose wife is actually Madeleine's best friend, in order to try and get some advice about the state of his relationship. And their conversation begins with Luke explaining he's in a perilous financial situation at the moment.
How much of your 401k did he take out for the classes?
We just spent $10,650. Didn't talk to Madeleine about it. Caused some problems today.
Right, okay, so you've cashed out of your retirement fund in order to throw your last bit of money into your sunglasses business. Okay, says Brian. That's, yeah, good luck. But, he says, what right does Madeleine have to be mad? It's not her money, it's yours. Are you scared that she won't be with you if you have no more money?
Look, I love the girl. Could things be better? Absolutely. But I feel that she's not in it for the money.
I just want you to be honest with yourself.
Yikes. You can already tell that this isn't one of those hangouts where your friend reassures you that all of your insecurities are just in your head. Brian knows Madeleine, so for him to say, I just want you to be honest with yourself, is a pretty big deal. It really does feel like Madeleine's priority in this relationship is the financial security that it offers her. You really need to wise up, his friend says. You need to protect any assets you still have.
You get a bulletproof prenup that protects your assets. Have you had that conversation with her?
No.
And that's solid advice, right? But the thing is, if Luke finds himself in this situation, it's a prison of his own doing. He's the one that's cultivated this environment. He's the one that was acting like the sugar daddy. He doesn't really have a leg to stand on. He doesn't get any sympathy from me. If he's now worried the woman he's been lavishing with money and gifts, shock horror, might just be with him for his money. And he's clearly worried about how Madeleine might take the news of a prenup if and when he raises it with her.
I know I have to come clean about wanting a prenup. I just don't know how many more truth bombs our relationship can take.
Now, I'm no psychic, but even I know Madeleine isn't gonna react well to this triple whammy. First, she learnt that her sugar daddy was broke. Then she found out he wasn't going to be moving to Colombia. And now she's going to find out that he wants a prenup. My crystal ball tells me that she's going to get even more moody than she already is. But we'll come back to that shortly. For now, we join them the next day as they meet up with Madelein's grandmother and aunt. Hopefully today can be the first drama-free day where they're not just talking about money.
Ya tiene la fecha del matrimonio. La fecha del matrimonio.
La fecha de matrimonio.
Oh, there goes the hopes for a drama-free day then. Now, Madelein's very, very close with her aunt and her grandma. Both ladies were responsible for raising her. So it's understandable that they're keen to know what Luke's plans are, what his intentions are for their wedding. After all, they say, Madelein's been daydreaming about this day for a very long time.
Quiero la ceremonia afuera y otro salón para la recepción. Yo quiero un violín. Quiero un piano.
Poor Luke, just look at his face as she's rattling off all the things that she wants for her wedding. This feels like a manipulation tactic, he says. They're all dreaming big, quizzing me about when and where we're gonna have the wedding, when I can't afford it right now, he says. But that's not good enough. That's not what Madelein's grandma or aunt want to hear. Don't make our little girl suffer, they warn.
Los problemitas que se presenten, no agrandarlos, sino buscar la solución. Ponerte en el lugar de ella, ser honesto.
Respectfully, give it a rest, lady. Don't make her problems bigger. What problems? You're talking about a 19-year-old who's been provided everything. She's living the life of luxury. Put yourself in her shoes, she says, as if somehow Luke hasn't been catering to her every need. Like, he's funded her business, he's covering her rent, he's basically bankrolled her entire lifestyle. Now, yes, he may have hit a rough patch, but it's clear he's giving it his all. I'm not sure what they expect from him. Just let the guy get his finances back on track. But unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the goal for today. They're here to heap more pressure on him.
Madelein's family is clearly frustrated with me. I feel uncomfortable, I'm getting hot, and Madelein is not helping me out.
I really feel for Luke here. Madelein should be backing him up. She should be telling her family to ease off a bit. Like, she knows full well right now isn't the time to ask him to foot the bill for this extravagant wedding she's been dreaming of. And she's really not doing herself any favours by letting her family lay on the pressure like this. If anything, it's coming off as really bratty on her part.
I'm not going to budge. We need to figure out our finances, and I don't have the money to pay for the wedding, so, girl, up.
Oh boy, yeah, Luke is clearly feeling the heat right now. And while I do understand where he's coming from, at the same time, I've said it before and I'll say it again, you created this mess, Luke. If she's 19 now and they've been together for a year and a half, what's that? What, they were together when she was 17 and a half? That's young. Yeah, that's thrown me off track there. Right, that's young. Right, where was I? Right, yeah, so if she's 19 now, if they've been together for a year and a half, then at this point, he's already set an expectation. He's set the precedent. She now thinks this is her right, which explains why the next day, without telling Luke, Madelein has gone ahead and booked a tour of a potential wedding venue.
Wow.
I know weddings are expensive, and Luke is so worried about money.
Like, ramping up pressure is one thing, but what she's doing here feels like she either doesn't believe he's having financial difficulties, or she just doesn't care. The guy's broke, he's in debt, he's cashing out his 401k. Trying to plan this extravagant wedding in this situation is beyond optimistic, especially when the lady at the venue informs them that all in, this will probably cost about 20 grand.
I'm just really concerned because 15 to 20 grand, I don't have it. I can't pay for that.
Why you wanna roll in this day again, like yesterday?
It's wild how oblivious or entitled she's feeling about his financial reality. Luke's not out to rain on anyone's parade, right? He's trying to be practical. He's trying to manage expectations. But right now, this lavish wedding just isn't on the cards for them. The problem is, that's not what Madeleine wants to hear. She sees this as him choosing to ruin her day. It's clear she's living in this naive bubble.
Maybe it's an age thing, and at 19 years old, you can't understand the gravity of my money problems. I don't know, but this is exactly why I need a prenup.
Okay, so is age playing a factor here? Well, maybe, but she's 19, she's not 9. We're talking about an adult. We're talking about a grown lady with her own business. Like, come on, she's not a kid. More than age, I think this is her being entitled and spoiled. I don't think the reality has really hit her. I don't think she understands or empathizes what Luke is going through. And while now might not be the perfect time, there is no time like the present for Luke to bring up the issue of prenup. Yeah, good luck, Luke. You're gonna need it.
The prenup. Have you ever heard of it?
So you don't feel secure about me, or what the do you say?
Everybody does it. For protection.
This has really set Madeleine off. I can't help but think that this curveball might just be the tipping point for her. Now, from Luke's perspective, a prenup makes sense. It's for protection, he tells her. He wants to protect any future earnings, and he also has a separate apartment in Medellin. So yeah, from his perspective, it makes sense. But Madeleine, well, she sees this as a distinct lack of trust in her, and she's not the kind of lady who takes disappointment well.
He was a pregnant because he don't trust me? It's Luke who lied to me a lot.
Here's a thought. Maybe if you actually took the time to listen to Luke, to listen to his financial worries, instead of throwing a tantrum about everything, then he might start trusting you more. A prenup is a safety net for both of you, but it might not be the most romantic topic. It might not be what you want to talk about when planning your perfect wedding.
He's so bull.
Madeleine chooses to freak out. She chooses to act like a spoilt brat. She's heaping on the pressure. So let's see how firm Luke will stand on this. Will he stick to his guns, or will he end up backtracking about the prenup like another broke sugar daddy from this show once did?